Hey guys, we are at home, which is not great, but we're gonna do the best we can with what we have. And so our assignment today is we're gonna learn how to draw eyes. A lot of the time when folks are drawing portraits of themselves or others, the eyes are usually the thing that makes you look like you or the person that you're drawing look like themselves. And so I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to help you figure out how to draw eyes better. So when it comes time to do our portrait unit, you'll have that much of an easier time. Okay. So you just need paper. And if you have blank paper, if you have your sketchbook, that'd be great. Blank paper. If you don't have blank paper, that's okay. It works on lines too, or if you have the back of an old worksheet, and that has a blank space, that would work as well. Regular pencils, are just fine, number two pencils, and an eraser, and a sharpener if you have one. If you don't, that's okay too. We will do our absolute best with what we have and keep the ball rolling. So I'm going to switch my camera to my document camera. Okay, so to draw an eye, you have to sort of understand its size and its relationship with sort of everything around. So this is sort of first a diagram that I need you to follow along with. Just like we do in class, everything I draw, you draw. Okay, so when we do any sort of drawing, um, remember, you draw light till it's right. You don't commit to anything. And especially with the eyes and with the face and portraits, you don't commit to any lines until you're absolutely sure. And when we start with the eyes, we start in a very mathematical way. So in a way that's very easy to understand and lay out. When you first draw the eye, and we're going to do ours kind of on the bigger side so you can see my hand. It's about, the width of my fingers. I'm drawing just sort of a general almond shape. This is nobody's eye in particular, but this is going to become something that looks relatively real. All right, so we have a general almond shape to start. And no hard lines, no hard lines, no hard lines. When you are first starting an eye, you want to make sure that you understand sort of the math of an eye layout. So if this is our whole, if this is our whole space that we have to work with, we want to sort of, you can do imaginary lines once you get really good. But basically at first you want to split this whole length that you're starting to work with into three equal spaces. Okay. So from the inside corner, if this is where our nose is, and we have like an eyebrow or whatever, if this is where our nose is, inside corner to the outside corner of your eye. So that's number one, three equal spaces. Now, write this down. The center of the eye is 1/3 the length of the entire eye. Okay, so make sure you write that down in your notes right underneath. This is what I'm going to be looking for when you turn these in. Next up, after the center of the eye is the length of the entire eye. And I'm referring to the iris, the colored part of your eye. The iris is a muscle. We need to draw this muscle as accurately as possible. So, the length of the entire eye. And then I really want you to understand that it's a circle. Okay? It is not elongated. It is not an oval shape. We don't change the center to fit this shape. We change this shape to fit the center. Okay, and that'll become a little bit more clear as we go along. And then next part, after we have the iris, which is the colored part, we have the pupil. Okay, the pupil is the hole that we actually see through, the where our cornea protects the iris and pupil, which is kind of like a big fat lens. And the pupil is what actually lets the light in. So when we are drawing the pupil, we need to understand that the pupil changes based on how much light is coming in through that part of the eye. When we are outside, our pupils get very, very small because light is information. And if there's a lot of information overload to the brain reacts by tightening up that aperture, by tightening up that hole, which is the pupil, and only letting in an appropriate amount that will work well for the human body. If we are in a closet and it is dark, the pupil opens up more because the brain says, hey, I need more information. Open up so to let as much light in as possible. So that's why when it's the dark, your pupil gets really, really big. So all that information can flow into your brain. So the pupil in normal indoor light, your pupil in normal indoor light is 1/3 the size of the iris. Okay, so we have the colored part and we have that dark part that's in the center. Okay, we are going to draw our eye as if we are in normal indoor light, not too dark, not too light. So understand these ratios. Understanding these ratios really helps the accuracy of the eye. So this sort of fake eye that we're doing, this sort of typical eye that we're doing, we're going to start out by creating the circle. And what you want to do is sort of don't really think about this height. Just go ahead and make a really pretty circle that the sides touch those brackets that we created. Okay, so we have our circle right here, circle inside. Now this is happening to touch, but we're going to still make adjustments because we don't see everybody's whole big giant iris all the time. We don't all walk around looking like we're sort of bug-eyed and crazy. Not all of us. Anyway, we're gonna make sure that we get everything well crafted. So these top and bottom parts, which are going to become our lids, our eyelids, are going to get adjusted. So I'm going to start here by creating the inside corner of this eye. And so sort of this is where our tear duct is. It's sort of a softer sort of end of a lemon sort of a shape. It's sort of it's not as pointy as we originally created. It is a little bit more of a gentle change. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of a little bit of that darkness right there. And I'm gonna keep going. Now, when we are sitting looking at each other, looking at the TV, looking at our phones, looking at, the wall, doesn't matter. We don't see the whole iris. We usually see most of the top of that circle, but not the tippy top of that circle. So we're going to change the curvature of our eyelid. So now it's kind of a cutoff circle, but it's still an appropriate circle. And depending on the tilt of our head, we sometimes see the bottom of the iris or just it's barely cut off. So again, this depends on the person, how much they are controlling their eyelids and how bright, how dark, the expression on their face. But this is going to be sort of a very expressionless sort of a face, if you will, if you have a nice relaxed eye. So we have sort of the top, a little bit of the bottom. Now, the pupil part itself is, what did we say before? 1/3 the length of the iris. So we take 1, 2, 3, that spacing up the top, and that is the pupil. The pupil is going to be right smack in the center. And the pupil is a hole and it is dark inside there. So we are going to make sure that that gets shaded in. And we're going to get darker later, but we're just going to keep it sort of a medium dark for now. All right, so that's part of the eye that we need to consider. Now, another part that we need to consider is that whole tear duct space. We have lots of stuff going on in our eye. We've got this eyeball that's sitting in this head, so that we need to define those spaces by creating sort of stoppage points where tissue might be, where our lids overlap on each other. All right, so there's a little bit of a parentheses thing going on the outside edges of our on the outside edges of our eye. All right, so then at this point, we have to create a texture for our iris. And our iris is a muscle. It's an involuntary muscle. We don't think about, hey, I got to open it. I got to close it. Your brain just does it for you automatically based on how intense the light is around you. So I'm going to get in there. I'm going to make this pupil nice and dark. Okay, nice and dark. And it's a striated muscle. It kind of looks like an accordion, almost like the bottom of a mushroom or something like that. So I'm going to go in and out from the iris. Then, because it's a lot of striations, details, I'm going to go there and sort of start to soften up what's happening with this iris. Okay, keep making that texture for the iris. Now, if you have really dark eyes, you can make these striations a little bit darker. If you have really light eyes, you can ease up on your pressure, but keep your lines really close together. Okay. All right. Now, if you have a fancy pants drawing set, you can totally do this. You can get out with your blending stump or a tortillon, or you can just take a piece of paper that's rolled up and just use the back end. And I'm just going to go from, again, you don't have to have a blending stump with the whole twisted bit. You can just use the back end of a paper, and I'm going to use the back end so you can see that you don't need a fancy piece. You just need to get a little bit of that graphite blended. All right. And then, and I don't know, the camera's sort of ruining the texture. Do you see that? Okay, I'm going to get a little closer. All right. So once you have sort of darkness around the edges, you can then start to jazz this eyeball up a little bit more. Now, eyeballs, you have all these tears on your eyes to keep them nice and wet so they keep working for you. So what you're going to do at this point is you're going to take an eraser, because your eyes have some little reflections in there based upon the light that's shining, what's around, what are we doing, okay? So we're going to get some reflections on that eye. All of a sudden now we have a little bit of depth that's built up onto this eye. So if I have this depth that's built up, I need to sort of help define it. And to do that, I'm going to give a slight outline, So what I'm going to do is just give a little bit of definition around these things. Okay. All right. So all of a sudden, we're starting to build this thing from the sort of mathematical sort of perspective to a little bit more of a creative perspective. You can start to eliminate these brackets. And then you can start to build in some lids. So I'm going to get rid of these brackets, rid of it. Okay. And now I'm going to put in these lids where it's kind of above where the eyeball starts. It's just a gentle line. And then I have a little bit of a kind of darker area underneath, because your eyeball is heavy. There's weight to that eyeball. So I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to smush in that graphite. I'm going to start to smush in that line up top. And I'm starting to create a little bit more depth. Something else that's going to help, and I know everybody wants to do eyelashes, but eyelashes are the last thing we do. We don't do eyelashes yet because they're like a final icing on the cake sort of a thing. There needs to be all sorts of other information that is placed upon there to help make these eyes look a little bit more believable. Now, because we have a lid going up on top of our eye, we need to put a little bit more of a shadow because our lids block light from getting to the top of the eye. So what you do, take that nubbed up piece of paper, you want to pull down a little bit of shadow right across the top of the eye. Take that graphite, pull it down, pull it down. Now, Something I didn't mention earlier that I really want you to think about is if you start any portraiture, anything with the face with a sharpened pencil, you should really end with a sharp pencil. I did not touch my sharpener once. If you are needing to go to the sharpener, that probably means you were pushing a little too hard for this activity. Okay. So let me get this going a little bit more. If I wanted to get my eyebrow in there, I can get my general shape and get that filled in sort of once that happens, but we have eyeball, then lid, then eyebrow, because all that is brow bone. Now, when you're doing lashes, and I didn't mention this earlier, you should not close these two lines, okay, when you're making your outlines. Don't close them because then it flattens the whole illusion. Now I'm making some hairs. Hairs grow together, they grow apart, some are short, some are long. They curve to the right when they're on the right. They're kind of straight, a little bit shorter in the middle. And then as we get closer to the inside of the face, they get more and more sparse and a little bit less. Now, boys, girls, you have to look at your hair. If you have curlier hair, you're going to have a curvier eyelash. If you have straighter hair, you're going to have straighter eyelashes. Not everybody's eyelashes go up like this. Some people's eyelashes go flat out to the side. So you need to look and see what you have going on. But I'm going to go back. I'm going to, oopsies. So I have curly eyelashes, so I'm going to pull a little bit out. And I'm sweeping out to the right. Sweep out to the right, get straight in the middle, and then when I'm on the left of center, I curve to the left. And again, less and less. You don't want to make it look like a spider is crawling out of the eye. Okay. That is a generalized eye. So, oh, my lights just went off in my classroom, but I think you guys can still see things pretty nicely. You are expected for your e-learning assignment to complete one gorgeous eye, just like this. I'm going to switch back to my other camera so you can see something. Okay, so one eye. Is it going to focus on me? Okay, there we go. One eye, kind of big, kind of like the size of your hand. And I want to see these notes also. Got it? All right. Stay safe. Stay dry. Love you guys. Bye. Bring your work back when you come back.